Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing today on Wonderful Wednesday? As always, when there's a Wednesday and it's wonderful, there will be conversation for humanity in and of itself. And again, I'm just so humbled and honored that you guys take time out of your day to watch this program, whether it be live or even on the replay. And again, we have a great special guest ahead for us today for her to come share her story. A great friend of mine, Tracy, is willing to really step up to the mic and not only tell you guys who she really is, because again, like I talked about on coffee with Krista this morning, is it better to find out who people are or for what they do? And Tracy always brings it each and every single time. She really tells you who she really is. So Tracy, good afternoon, ma'am. How are you doing today on Wonderful Wednesday?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Chris, for having me. Yes, I always show up. Maybe I'm showing up too much.
That you do. You show up a lot, do you not?
Yes, I'm doing fine. How are you, Chris?
I am doing well, doing well. So, Tracy, again, I'm just so humbled and honored that you taking time out of your day to share your story with us. So, let me ask you this. How has the story of Tracy start? What did that look like? How did that came to be and everything? So, if you could please, Tracy, come share your story with us today on Conversation for Humanity. We would love to know who you are.
That's a great question. Who am I? I always ask myself that question. I was built a robot for the past 24 years. I was born and raised in China, and one of the mass-produced Chinese students. So I came along to the U.S. In the early 1999. I remember it was very cold in February. I went to New York. It was snowing, lots of snow, and I guess I was born in northeastern China. We had a lot of snow, and I was like cold winter days. We had to walk miles to bus stations, and then I had to take the little trolley, the cable car after my bus ride, and then that was winter time. Had to walk, with those very thick jackets. It really, my shoulder hurt a lot because carrying backpack, all those clothes on me, and everything, and masks is a mask because cold, and then you breathe out the hot air, and then you have this frost over your eyelashes. It was crazy, like a snowwoman
You
walking.
could probably get frostbite.
Yes. Oh, no, never, because we had the gloves. When I was in the South in wintertime during my college days, I started seeing people have those things. I never seen it before in the North because everything is centralized, heated in the room. It's really warm. Just going out, you have the jackets on. Inside the room, you have to, toss everything. Yeah, that was the cold experience, and that's why it stopped me from staying in New York. I said, okay, let's go to somewhere warm. So I came down to Texas for graduate school and stayed here for 25 long years. So I have always been in the past 2 decades in this warm zone. Now I think we are at 80s again today, similar to Florida where you are.
Yep.
Yeah, but a warm climate changed this robot. I guess because I from the interaction with the people here who grew up in this relatively tropical places, I feel they're more fun and they are more lively. People from Latin American, South American countries, including Central Americans, they really know how to enjoy their lives. They know how to party, bless you. They do. And then for them, their culture is to enjoy life, live in the moment. And my kids, two boys, one 11, the other one is 13. They're godparents. The lady, Claudia, she's from Argentina. And the husband, the godfather, is from Mexico. Both of them taught me a lot of things. They go to Disneyland 4 or 5 times per year. And at the beginning, I was like, that's a kids thing. Why do you have to go that many times? For me, one time is enough because I know Disney movies, but I did not really enjoy it. I don't see why people are going crazy for it, including Star Wars that you like. All these fantasies. It was never anything that's so interesting or anything that appeals to me because I like to see sci-fi, detective, mystery, reality drama, other things that's kind of heavy, make you start thinking, asking about your very existence. But those fun type of thing, fantasies, those kind of entertainment was never built into this robot, never before. Okay. And later on, I start to see the beauty of it. You really need to enjoy your life, right? Because that's what you probably come here for. Along the way, you help others. That's nice. But you yourself, me as a person, you need to take care this first, right? Before anything else. And yeah, but still my kids, they don't like Disney movies. As soon as they hear like a Frozen or the songs are in the air, they go, Mom, switch it off. So I never get a chance to watch Beauty and Beast, Mulan, all the things until I was flying Asian Pacific because you got nothing else to do and start to stream watching this movie in flight entertainment, and I finally seen one complete one, including Polar Express. Those boys like as soon as they hear the music song, no, turn it off. And then yeah, and then the moment I realized I let them learn piano, that's a bad decision because they do not appreciate music, and they were learning this like Beethoven, those classic music, and they thought it's boring. And I think it's nice for me to listen. And they said, Mom, you can just turn on your YouTube or Spotify. You don't have to have real people playing. I said, I pay for it. You do it. And at the beginning, in their education, I decided to let them sit in front of the piano because I want them to train for their patience. And that's how I was educated. You need to sit there and listen. The teacher just keep on going, monologue, and you're not supposed to ask a question. You're not supposed to move, and you're not supposed to be absent. In the days I was younger at their age, even if I was sick, I had a fever, diarrhea, whatever, I was supposed to be at school because that's what I was there for. In school, you need to learn. If you're sick, you manage. And we never even ask a question about what if other people get infected, right? If you have something contagious, no problem. You can be there. You do your work. We will take care of the rest of it. That was the mentality. And that is still the mentality today. I was at another uh, event earlier and I talked about the education. I couldn't look at the time and know how much time I was supposed to be talking. I think I caused the room run over time, and then later on I wrote to the host an email just to apologize. I said, I did not ask for permission. I should have at least checked how much time I had. That was the way I was supposed to be. But because I was so easy with those American, South American cultures, we can go on and on and on. Because I used to go to friends from Colombia just to say goodbye can take 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the culture. You're not supposed to say bye and you're gone. You're supposed to mingle, socialize until you say, "Oh, I hate to go. Oh, I have to go." Yeah, it takes hours for them to say goodbye.
Yeah.
It is fun too, but this is different culture. But I think sometimes I might be in the wrong mode for different things. Just this is very conflicted. I often feel like, oh, this is the Chinese side of me is coming, and this is the American side. I try not to put them all together because I know if I really, really blend them together, it's going to be something scary. I don't know because those cultures are very, very different. I tend to let them to sit side by side. Okay, if I need this, I will look into this side. If I need the other, I will look into the other. But there are something substantially same, which is humanity, right? We're humans. we may exhibit a different way in different cultures. People wave, people kiss, or they hug, but they're just sending a message of being kind to each other, right? Friendly. All the things, the essence is the same. The forms are different, but people all smile, right? We have the same expressions. Some people may just do this like that, this 18 thing, American way. But what really made me come to BHT, bring humanity together, is your coffee with Chris. You just have this space that's so accepting and inviting for people to come and share the things they feel important. They feel they like to have this thing shared with others. And then with all this sharing, all this truthfulness that you brought out of all these participants and guests, we start to learn more about ourselves. I started listening first, and then I realized, hey, I have something in common I like to share. And then just maybe one or two words of mine could inspire another one, coming along. And I like the fact that now you ask one or two of us bring along a friend, who might just benefit the same way that we did in your room. And later on, when you start having this PM calls, to have a little bit more discussion uh, from the topic that you probably touched in the morning. And at the beginning, I also questioned you. I said, "Why are you doing this, Chris? This is like on and on and on, and it takes forever." Because the business side of me, I start thinking ROI. What's the return on this? How many people will show up and repeatedly contribute, and how much value we're getting this? But I follow. I show up, and because I want to see how far all these Chris calls and coffee chats will take us, and I just seeing these things like exploding like
Mhm.
exponentially. At one time you had like 20 people in the room. I said, "Oh, he's taking off," but then you did not get overjoyed. I think you were prepared for a long time, and then you start seeing people are showing more interest. You probably been through this cycle many times. The people come, people go. Some people stay, but many probably just move on, and that's normal, right? With anything.
Right.
But they probably will also come back. And I've seen that in education a lot. Kids come in, "Oh, I'm so interested. I want to learn this." And they were so passionate about it. But then 3 minutes later, like, I'm done. Right? They
Yeah.
move on to something else. But the one who really interested in something, they will always come back. Right? And they will ask for more questions. And that time, you can't even stop them anymore. I think this recession, this little bit grace period really helped. And that's okay if they come in here for a day or two and listen to you for coffee chats, and then they might be out for 2 3 weeks, maybe a longer month. But when they come back, they know they're going to stay or they're going to do something about it. And I think that's what I understood about you keep on doing this calls, working around your work schedule and be here for us. And every time it's like this 1 hour or sometimes 1 hour and a half. That's a lot of dedication, generosity right there.
Yeah. And Tracy, I really want to know this, and I'm sure all of our audience would love to know too as well, because knowing who you are is a big thing, absolutely, but also knowing where you come from too as well is a big thing as well. So when you lived in China before you came to the United States, where did you actually live? Did you live in Shanghai? Did you live in Beijing? And what was that environment like when you did live there? And how did that kind of shape you for who you are today?
I worked in Shanghai for about 5 to 6 years with an international non-for-profit organization serving over 40 entrepreneurs who came to China and made their first bucket of gold in China. Many of them came as international students. You couldn't even imagine, but there were younger kids in their late teen, even early 20s came to China, and actually they were from Europe. There's people from France, Iceland, lots of
Hmm.
Americans, Australia, Singapore, Malaysia. Yeah, pretty much representing all continents. Uh, no one was from Africa. Oh, no, no. There was a gentleman from South Africa. So before that, I actually was born and raised in northeastern China. You know, the three provinces right next to Russia, North Korea,
Right.
across ocean from South Korea. That's where I was born and raised in the very south of it. The one has coastlines, okay, and that's where I was actually born in one of the hometown of famous comedians. That's why I guess I had this thing, kind of like a goofiness. We all had that because we all talk that way, you know. We try
Right.
to joke around about it because in the cold climate, uh, in the farming community, people don't work at all after probably November because it's too cold to farm. And then from November, December, January until late February, like a 4 month off, people had nothing else to do, you know, just enjoying life, kind of like that. Okay. And it's cold. And I think entertainment is probably like a monologue or monotone or talking to your friends, relatives. Then that's why the local culture is like that. And people like to sing, like to talk. We listen to stories. Storytelling was mainly the main form of entertainment. That's why when I was younger, every time they ask you for talent show, you know, do you have anything to tell? I said I will tell you a story. The story I told was boring. I was not good at the storytelling, but I always wanted to tell a story because that's the only thing I knew. I was a terrible singer because it was so hard for me to stay in tune of everything. And then if I sing a song, they will ask, "Is that a song?" That's a
Right.
song. Because every time I change, you know, just like uh, I have a very soft voice. You probably still hear me because I have a microphone now. Otherwise, you probably won't hear me. Like I saw your lips moving, but I didn't hear the sound. So it was very hard for me to sing or do anything else. But storytelling seems to be pretty okay because you kind of you get to read. My storytelling was made like a reading books because it's easy, right? In storytelling, you really have to be a little bit more creative. Being born in the north is very different because at the age of 16, almost 17 years old, I went to the south. A city very close to Shanghai was the old capital of China called Nanjing. You know that Nanjing massacre, right? The Japanese killed like thousands of people there. So each year we had to visit that museum. It was brutal. You know, every time I was like traumatized. Like, how can human kill another human in the most cruel way? Imagine. And then because those Japanese soldiers had to show off how many people they killed, and you know what they did? They cut the body parts and pierce them together on a string and wear them around. I do not know for sure because I only saw some photos, but they were
Hmm.
not really clear. So we kind of guessed. I think there was a American journalist who documented the whole thing when he was there in the city. But I try not to go there unless
Right.
it's required by the college. And anyway, I was there for 4 years. That city is famous for a lot of historical sites, but every single dynasty existed in that city was short-lived. It's
Right.
just lots of sadness in the city. Even that old Republic of China now is in Taiwan. I
Right.
think lasted barely 40 years. It was founded in 1911, and the time when they retreat, it was 49. So it was only 30, yeah, 49 minus 11, 38 years, right? I was short. But on average, the dynasties only lasted around 50 years. So yeah, it's about the average. Um, Talking about the city, and I have to share with you, not too long ago, I was at a banquet organized by the Taiwanese community. You know, Taiwan has a unique position in the world, right? It's called
Right.
a region. They cannot say I am Republic of China because mainland China, they are so big and strong on this one China policy. Honestly, I really don't care. You know, if somebody can say they are part of China, I'm happy. You know, it doesn't matter you call your Republic of China or People's Republic of China, does not make any difference. But back in the mainland China, leaders were so I can't say narrow-minded, but I'll just say they are very strong-willed. They just don't want to have China anywhere else other than the mainland. And I think I'm more accepting because I'm not in the mainland of China. But when I do visit, I feel people are still the same way. 20, 30 years ago. Well, I think that when I was growing up in the 70s, 80s, we were in a more liberal environment
Mhm.
because you know we had the Nixon, President Nixon visited in 72, and then we had a leadership that relatively Western educated. They were open minded, but now, right now, the current leadership, I think they are moving toward to North Korea direction. Because at one time, I think I shared it at different occasions during COVID time. I went to Houston Chinatown, a Chinese restaurant for for lunch, and then all of a sudden I started looking the TV over there in the restaurant, and I thought it was some conference going on, like a delegation thing in North Korea. But then I look at it again, no, this is a Chinese national flag. So yeah, Chinese government now is moving toward to that pre-cultural revolution era. They want to have one party, one voice, one authority, and one value. I think that's because when China opened up for the economy growth and being able to perform on this international arena, signing up for the WTO thing, people were all after from materialism. You know, there was not really value because back in my days, we have to learn those etiquette, okay? The values. You love your country, respect the people, take care of your family, be courteous. All the things we were taught, they were gone in the 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010. In the late 2010, they start to instill again the behaviors, the values, the social norms. Again, I think that they were like eight of them, but I really did not look at it. And I was thinking those things need to be taught at home. Parents should already know, but they don't because the parents didn't know. The parents were born in the 80s, about one decade after me. They were not taught that. They were taught, you know, score high on your college examination. You need to go to the best school, get the best job, make the best money, and then buy a house, buy the biggest fancy American or European cars or Japanese cars with the newest technology. Everybody was just going for money, 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 right? And then at one time, I think this was about the time I visited before COVID. My mom and I, we were sitting at a big shopping center waiting for the shuttle going back because all those fancy big shopping centers run free shuttle buses. So I was sitting there waiting for this shuttle with her, and I asked her, I said, Mom, tell me, do you feel this, you know, commercial side of China is better, or the days when you were younger, it's just very simple life. Everything was allocated by the government. Everybody was pretty much equal except those, very elite class, which we didn't know. They had the TV, they had the fridge, they had everything. But the majority of the population, we had a very equal resources. And she said, I think now is better because we have more freedom. We have a lots of things to choose from. But I said, do you think you are happier? She said, no, I'm not happier, but I get more things. Because when he was growing up, everything was limited. They were not in poverty, but there was never done anything more than enough. It's just enough. So for her to be able to choose the things she likes, at her discretion, can be tossing things around at her disposal. That's something that she really, really appreciated. But happiness is a different thing. We all know that money can never buy happiness, right? There's nothing commercial about happiness. It's just a mental state. But still, she's a cancer survivor. She had breast cancer surgery in 2005. So she now she sees this world very differently. To her, every single day that she lived here is a victory. It's a success already, and she appreciates everything that she's given. The time we spent together, the grandchildren, the friendship, she received and she offered to her cancer survivors group. She truly appreciate that, and I see that changing in her. And it's like, to me, I skipped 2 mammograms after she was diagnosed because I couldn't take the pressure. I was so scared when they called me back for a diagnostic mammogram. And then I was like, do I need to know? Do I need to know? Do I need to know? And then when they found out nothing about me, just normal, I was disappointed. You see, it's very conflicted, right? It's like you
Mm-hmm.
pay for your house insurance, and you feel like, I didn't use it at all. You should be feeling like, I'm so grateful, I'm so healthy. But at the same time, because you're paying for it, you feel like you need to have a return, right? And that's as me. To her, it's a different, because she appreciate her life more, because she could die like many people in their 30s, 40s, 50s who were diagnosed for breast cancer. But she was diagnosed in her 60s, so the chances for her to survive is higher. And now she's no, I'm sorry, and she was operated in 2015, so she's 9 year cancer free. But I have seen how she fought back this disease. She had the chemo, she had the radiation, all the therapies. But when I asked her now, she said that everyone that she met in the cancer survivors group, she said, do not go for all those SOPs in hospital, because she believes this holistic um, remedy or therapy, she did not go for. I don't know for sure that she will be cured, but at least that's an alternative. And I see that too, because being this half a Chinese, half American, I often travel back and forth. I always wonder the road I did not take. Maybe it's better. And I said, Mom, are you sure the holistic way is a better way? She said, no, I don't know for sure. But I know the way I took was not the best choice. When you have the choice, then it's better. You can try the holistic. If it doesn't work, you can always come back to the Western medicine, the way you do operation, you do chemo, you do radiation. But once you have this chemo and radiation things done, you cannot do the holistic way anymore. So that's just the option. Like back to the humanity, to bring humanity together. We all probably learned the other way around already, right? We were being educated in a certain way. We work in certain organizations that's not ideal. But coming back, we know who we are, or we kind of know who we are with what we wanted to do. Like I said earlier about your coffee chats, people travel, people come here and say, oh, it's pretty nice, and then they feel like, the passion is fading away, I need to move on to something else, and they leave. but they will come back. The ones who really want it will eventually come back.
Absolutely. And on that note about going through a trial and tribulation like you and your mother have, let me ask you this, Tracy. Do you believe not only everything happens for a reason, number one, and then number two, can you come out on the other side better than you went in? Because, and the reason why I say that is because there's a friend of mine that actually had a friend of his actually had to go through cancer himself.
Mm-hmm.
And what they said as a family, they say in unison together that we are cancer. And the reason why they say that is because they wanted to face it head on and not mince words with it, or literally say cancer is going to take me away and all that kind of stuff, and really feel down and getting the woe is me, feel sorry for me and all that kind of stuff. They just embrace cancer and say, I am cancer. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to approach it. And I kid you not, my friend told me the guy has now been cancer free and no symptoms has returned for now over 10 plus years. So when you have gone through that yourself, how did your family handle that trial and tribulation, not only on that day-to-day basis, but when you first got that news, oh my gosh, cancer, what do we do? How did that all play out for you?
It was tough because I was not even included. My older brother was there, and he took care of everything. At the moment they called me, my mom was already had the operation done. She was still in the hospital though, and I was not able to talk to her because my brother said she needs time to recover. I just want you to know. And I was like, how come? No one ever told me anything. And that was like a couple years before Chinese New Year. And she was quickly hospitalized, operated because my brother had a connection. And, you know, he's an engineer. He installs elevator and maintain them in hospitals. So he got her. I think she wasn't even given the choice. You know, you have cancer. Let's have the operation. Cut it off. You know, people were still in the mentality that you don't understand something, let's get rid of it. That was always the way I was taught. Okay, we have no time to figure out what it is. If that's not good, get rid of it. And I was not thinking much. I just felt like a little bit hurt because as the only daughter, I need to know what was going on. And that was only less than a year after I left China. I came back to the States 2014, around April. And then she was operated in like a February in 2015 because she went for some like just normal, like a physical. And there's something called over examination in the medical world, and they started doing MRI, X-ray, CAT scan, whatever, and it picked up she was a stage 4 breast cancer. And then now she said, this thing is good. I did the all around examination and they pick up that I was a cancer patient. Many people won't even go for that. You know, I only came here for physical. Why do I do all that? But she was very open. You know, if you want me to check that, that's fine. Oh, of course, you know, that she had Medicare in China, and everything was pretty much paid for. But yeah, you had to go up and down, go to different rooms, and wait there for like hours to get an examination because there are just too many people, a huge population. That's why hospitals are running like McDonald's, in and out. Yeah, pretty much. There's no service. There's no way we can serve so many people, and that's why they can get this operation done. I think I heard it was only like a 2 hour in the operating room, and that's it. She's out. And my aunt, her youngest sister, took care of her. And after everything is done, my brother called me and let me know the situation. And it took me a while to process. I couldn't even call her. I was like, I don't know what to say to her. If she did not include me, I knew she didn't want to make me worry about her health. But still, I thought that I need to know. Yeah. And then She was okay because she was recovering physically, and she has a strong mind, like you said that with the friend of yours. I think I now seeing her and seeing other cancer patients around me, I think it's really just about your mindset. It's not about the disease. If you, like we say, there's a will, there's a way. And I have
Absolutely.
seen that many people just got killed by their unwillingness to live. My mom had a strong will to survive. She would do whatever she could to live her life because she wants us to see if she can possibly beat this thing. And her hair came back after chemo black, better than mine. My hair is kind of like a coarse and then not really healthy. She has very good hair, even in her, and she just turned 74 a couple days ago. Yeah, like 4 days ago. Yes, in yeah, I was like, she beat the cancer, and me, I developed a mental cancer. Yes, I'm physically healthy, but for a while I was so scared, just to look at anything about cancer, breast cancer, cancer support group, and I was supposed to be a caretaker. I guess my mom really knew me well. She didn't want this negativity from me or me crying over there or doing anything. And plus, I have two young kids at the time. 2015, my kids was only 1.5 and 3. So yeah, I feel that the care and the love, but I also feel like she's like, you won't be suitable for this kind of situation because as a daughter, I knew her, my mom, she's stronger than me, and she also knew that I might look like I know what I'm doing, but I actually I did not know, and I think she has no time and no net energy to comfort me because she's too busy, and her sister by her, I think that's more than enough that she needed. She just needs somebody to be by her side, and ideally I was not the person. And now I can understand more, and I appreciate that the time that it's probably good for me and her as well. But I think with cancer, this disease, and also with anything else that come along in life, that's kind of like can be classified as adversity. There's only one thing can overcome. That's the mindset, the will that we have here that works the miracle.
Yeah, and when you really think about it, Tracy, the miracles of life are literally around us each and every single day. And if there's a miracle in our lives every single day, I truly believe we should look at them as gifts. There's gifts all around us. So then the question becomes, number one, am I actually willing to receive said gifts? And then number two, am I allowing myself to see those gifts for what they truly are? And here's why I'm saying it that way. Because a lot of us, for whatever rhyme or reason, Tracy, just get into our own way in one way, shape, matter, form. We literally put more stuff in front of us that doesn't necessarily need to be there, and then we don't see what's actually in front of us because we throw mud on the wall and we try to hope and pray in God that it sticks. But then again, that's not a way to live a life. Because then again, if you do things over and over and over again and you're expecting that different result, what's that very definition of? That's the definition of insanity. So I truly believe that's not a way to live. And and if and for me, Tracy, if you really want to have a deep and meaningful life, then maybe you are willing to let go of what not only what you fear to lose, but what you actually are willing to gain by letting all that other stuff go. And by allowing that to be just for what it is, And now again, like I said on Coffee with Chris this morning, I go to these two songs that is truly, 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 really a big thing for me because again, the Beatles said it really well about letting it be. Just let it be, just let it be, then it will be. And then going to John Lennon and his great music video, Imagine. What can we imagine not only ourselves transforming into and becoming, but answering that very pivotal question about who are we? What are we meant here to do on this earth? And then once we kind of find all that out in one day to the next day to the next day or next minute or however that plays out, I actually am a firm believer that once you take that first step into a much larger world, that first step is a journey of not only of 1,000 steps, but you're willing to take that first step to get that journey not only started, but you really are focused on the journey, not the destination, because we can have destination all day long. But if we can really understand the journey there within, the destination is going to be, I won't say closing of a chapter, but all it is turning the page onto a new chapter. And if we just allow that to take hold, that changes the way we not only create the life that we love, but even the way that we create that life with others, whether it be in business or otherwise.
Gift. That's the first word when I was listening to your question. I heard. Um, I believe everybody has a gift, but many people run away from it, like I
Oh, they
did.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, because the gift sometimes is scary. You can do certain things, but you don't want to do, and it is scary because you think okay. For a while, I thought I could be a writer, but I was so lazy. I didn't want to write anything in down because as soon as I write it down, I start scratching it off. Like this is not good. This is not good. I can do better. And then because I have done this many times, I was like, no, let's just think about it. I'm not gonna write anything down. And also, whatever you write it down, because I always have a little bit of insecurity as the second born kid. And it's like whatever you write it down, people will take it against you someday. So leave no trace, no evidence. And for a while, I did not want to journal or writing a diary or anything like that. And I don't want to leave anything that could be used against me. I don't know why I always feel that way. I still probably feel this way from time to time too. But in my late 30s, I start writing. I feel like, oh, this is so easy. I have so many things to tell. And helping business, helping other people write is easy. But still, writing from my own still is hard. Writing with I do this is hard. That's why even when you see on my LinkedIn profile, I do she is. It sounds a little bit better if I do that third person. Just like being a narrator is more comfortable than being a speaker. So because I'm a linguist, I look at the words, either Chinese and English and some other languages, I like to decode them. So when you say gift, I actually wrote it down. Give it for them. So having a gift, whether you run away from it or you embrace it, it's going to eventually come back to you. And what to do with your gift is important. Do you keep it to yourself? Just enjoy being a little, secret. I have the talent. I'm enjoying it yourself. Or bring it out and benefit others. That's the choice. But when you have this willingness to bring it out and to serve other people, that becomes your true gift. Otherwise, you become just a hobby or something you keep it like in your closet. That's not going to be a gift. And in American education, especially in the public schools, we go for GT, right? Gifted and talented. But I will say 99% time, you have this taught gift and talented kids because they have something called the GT prep. The first time I heard it, I like, this is not real. If you are gifted and talented, you don't need to prepare for anything. Why don't you just go ahead and do an IQ test and know the aptitude of the kid, and that's it? But instead, they have this little test that they say is aptitude test. But if you can prepare for it, it's no longer an aptitude test. But still, they're using it to select the kids and give them some extra curriculum. Maybe only 1% or even less than 1% kids are really truly talented in certain area, and they were given these resources. All the other 99% kids just there to get the ROI, because the return on this minimal investment in the public schools, we don't charge anything. They only bring school supplies, right? They pay a little bit here and there, like fundraising stuff. But there are parents who just want to have their kids on this thing to prove something. My kids are talented and gifted, and I will feel good about it because this kid take after me. This ego, this mirage, this facade is killing the kids. The one who's prepared for GT, and they are not gifted, talented. They have to learn the things on this fast track. I think they are suffering big time. They might be, academically excel at one time, but they're not going to be that way through colleges, and they may not even make it through high school. They will fail at a certain point, and by the time they will realize they were cheated, they were pulled into something they were not.
Yeah. And I got to ask you, Tracy, whether to do it from a place of kids or even with work or whatever that might lay out for us. Let me ask you this. When you are wanting to be that teacher well, like I said, whether to be your kid or someone at work or whatever, do you do it in a way that you bring that choice into their life, that they have to either they make this choice and this is probably maybe the outcome that they will get on this choice, and when they do this choice, this is the kind of outcome that you would get it on that, or you do it like what some parents have probably done it, and I'm sure we probably do the kind of reflective back hindsight 2020. Oh, I shouldn't have done this back then when I actually should have done that. So when it comes, like I said, whether to be your kids or anyone else, do you actually have that choice for them in that way that, hey, if you choose to do this, you got to not only own up to it and be responsible for it, but then again, I'm not going to tell you what you should or should not do. And I know as a parent, sometimes we do kind of have to do that. But I've seen a lot of parents now, Tracy, are actually, I won't say not doing a hands-off approach, but they really are actually getting more involved, but they're keeping the dialogue so open and inviting to finding out not only where the kids want to do and where they want to go, but then they are not doing it in a way to where it's almost like it's my way or the highway. And I know a lot of parents kind of do that. They say, this is the way it's going to run. This is my house, my rules. This is what you got to do. And some people still turn out great after that. And that's just the way it works. But I got to know from your perspective, when it comes to your kids or like I said, anyone else, do you really do that to where you really have that engagement with people to really find out, especially with your kids? Because if you can't get engaged with your kids, I don't care if you can't even get engaged with a kid or someone at work, it's not going to fly. So I want to hear your take on that.
Education. I actually came from a family of teachers. My grandparents, my grandpa was a teacher, and my uncle, from my mother's side, is a teacher. And my mom was a teacher, teaching in vocational school for tailorship because she's a tailor. And I was in education part-time, on and off for quite some time. And also, all parents are educators. Parents are the first educators of their kids. But I often share with people, I say, when people get pregnant, with the first kid. They wanted to learn so much. They read the books, how to raise a kid, a young boy, a infant. But parenting, for some reason, they just feel, oh, school knows what to do. Daycare knows. And at my school, we run those parenting workshops. The show up is always one digit. I
Mm-hmm.
never see more than 10 people attending that. They all think, oh, I know how to teach my kids. But do they really know? They don't, especially if it's the firstborn. You don't know. You are in trial and error, right? I did that too with my older boy, the firstborn, who's an overthinker now, and I know why, and I can tell you why, because I'm an overthinker myself. He take after me, and he observed me, and he followed through everything I say, because he's a textbook baby. He follows everything I told him, and everything I told him was purely experimental, because I was a first time parent, right? I also read books and asked people around, but then I realized, like my parents, they didn't have a young kid around for 40 some years. What do they know? So I started to read the things left and right. That I implemented a lot of things in my firstborn, letting him start piano at 3 year and 10 months old, and I signed him up for soccer, basketball, baseball, swimming, taekwondo, you name it, almost everything, because I truly believed you let kids try everything, and maybe you can find the talent. Did I find the talent? No. He has to find his own talent. Only he
Right.
knows. Right. I did not give him the choice. I paid for everything. I took him to everything, and he did not really want everything. And I think at least one thing probably really stayed now is the piano, because at the 7 years old, 4 years into his piano, I said, "Do you really want it? If you don't want it, then we can stop." But the inside voice here is like, please stay," because I really want to have my ROI. And having a kid who's being able to play something nice for you, live concert, of course, is something enjoyable, right? But still, I still undermine his ability of telling me what he really wanted. And because I was building him certain way, I was building a robot too, right? The same way I was built, he's not able to verbalize what he need. Yeah, he's an overthinker. He could be
Yeah.
eating a breakfast for hours because the procrastination give him the time to space out from my pressure. And I can see that. And then
Right.
now I tell him it's okay. It's really okay that if you say you don't want to go. But he's having a hard time just to believe me.
It, it,
Yeah.
and, and Tracy, I got to commend you for letting your kids literally find out not only what works for them, but what they really love to do. And that's a great thing. And I truly believe, Tracy, we can even do that in our workplaces, because when we find those people who are really good at what they really do, and like I said, it could be music, it could be art, it could be leadership, it could be anything. But when we give that encouragement and empowerment, like I said, not only to our kids, but to anyone we work with, I truly believe that's a great thing. And I know we're getting ready to end the show here in just a couple of minutes. But like I said, when you said that you let your kids literally choose where they want to go, whether it be taekwondo, basketball, soccer, whatever that might be. You literally say, "Hey, if you're going to do it, you got to go through with it. You just can't be, oh, I try a couple games, oh, I'm done." And see, I'm still okay with that. If they say after a couple of games and they know themselves really well, they can say, "Mom and Dad, football not for me." It's just, and sometimes that's
Mhm.
the reality of it. Sometimes we just gotta really figure it out of what really does work for us and what we can truly do. But I truly also believe too as well, if you're willing to try something new and you can do that, again, I have to bring Star Wars back into this. I have to bring Master Yoda into it and yet again when he has that great phrase and quote, do or do not, there's no try. But the very fact that he said that actually accentuates my very next statement. If we don't try, then we don't do. It's already there. So for me, in the act of trying, literally in and of itself is in the act of doing, but also also in the act of doing, when you really think about it, Tracy, is actually not even doing nothing at all. And here's why I say that. For our kids or even ourselves or the people that we work with, we can literally can be a hindrance or actually an addition to, and because it plays out both ways, if we do nothing at all. Sometimes we just have to take that hands off and say, hey, you're the captain of your own ship. This is what you got to do. I'm going to be your guide on it, but I'm not going to let you pull the levels with me in tow. You gotta really figure out, do I need to turn right or do I need to turn left? And I can say, hey, maybe you want to not hit that iceberg that's coming ahead, but then again, you got to make that choice. But then again, if you still have that hands off approach, sometimes that might be too much for somebody, but then you have that negative effect because of that. And that's just the way I kind of look at that. Like I said, but I'm glad you brought that up about you're letting your kids really try and do everything that they want to. And I know it's getting ready to be at the end of the show, but I'll let you have the final words and your final thoughts today. And of course, again, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. So, Tracy, your final thoughts today and of the sharing your story today on Conversations for Humanity. We would love to hear from you.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you so much for guiding me along the way through bring humanity together. This movement and the conversation with Chris, I found myself. I was a robot. I'm no longer very robotic. I still have the robotic way, but I think I have more human side of me coming out, and through all those conversations and through my own personal journey, through me being the manager of my kids' education, to a little bit more on the mentor side, to give him the guidance and the freedom to choose. That's going to benefit my kids, also can benefit the kids around me, that I'm also an educator to other people's kids. And the people who's working with me, they do not suffer as much, because I used to be holding this standard so high, it has match up benchmarking everything, but just being more accepting, appreciate the differences, whether being a leader or a team player, appreciate the differences. We are all humans. Let it be, and find out who you are, who I am, and who we are collectively. Bring the human side of us together out, serving others. That's what I wanted to share with you, Chris. Thank you so much for this conversation. I'm learning every time I have a conversation with you. Thank you.
I'm so humbled and honored because I learn from you each and every single day, and I have to again go to these three words that's so pivotal. It's about listen, learn, and lead. I truly believe, Tracy, if we can all become better listeners, then we can all become better learners, and then we can all only become better leaders, not only in our own homes, but literally in the very workplaces that we work at a lot of days of our lives. And I truly believe when we do that, and maybe we do that very from a place of simplicity that will lead us to a pathway to clarity, maybe we just start by just saying, hey, I'm willing to show up. And that maybe that's where it all starts. So, Tracy, thank you so much as always for sharing your story and being vulnerable and being who you really are and always showing up when you do. And again, everyone, we would love for you to come share your story on Conversation for Humanity. So the link is not only in our YouTube channel, but also on our LinkedIn page today. If you want to come share your story with us, we would love you and welcome you with open arms to come share your story or anything that you want to bring to the table. We would love to hear that. So again, we greatly appreciate that opportunity with you. And Tracy, thank you so much, ma'am. Looking forward to speaking and collaborating with you very soon. Again, we just appreciate you guys tuning in, watching this on live or even on a replay. And if you want to get to know Tracy, please reach out to Tracy. I'll put her LinkedIn profile in the comment section here in just a little bit because I got to get ready to go pick up my wife from work. So from all of us here at Bringing Humanity Together and Adaptive Strategies Group, we're so humbled and honored to have you here, Tracy. You have a great day. Make your day. And we'll see you on the next Conversations for Humanity. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye, Chris. Thank you so much.